also keep a little bit of a bend in your knees if you've got tight hamstrings or some feedback in the lower back. And just start to gently lower yourself down your legs, feeling your belly on your thighs if you can. Think about a slight tilt of the hips up towards the ceiling and letting your head come towards the mat. And just coming into the breath here, feeling your breathing against your thighs, your belly inflating as you inhale, and as you exhale, letting something go. Taking a few more breaths like this, following the breath in and out. Letting any tension, any leftovers from the day just pour out of the body. You can rock slightly backwards and forwards on your feet. That feels nice. And then coming into stillness, just you and your breath. We'll take 2 more breaths. Opening up to the right arm up. Twisting your body towards the right side of the mat. Keeping a bend in that left knee. Just taking a couple of breaths here. And then swapping hands. So right hand down directly underneath your face. Right knee bends. Left arm sweeping up. Keeping that bend in the left knee. Opening your body out to the left. On the next exhale, let's swap hands again over to the other side. Left hand down, right arm up. Maybe half binding the right arm behind your back. You can search for the inner crease of your left thigh if that's available. Opening your right shoulder up towards the ceiling. Maybe you're going to walk your left hand over to the outside of the right foot. Holding onto the shin, the ankle, the foot. And opening your body up towards the right side of your mat. One more breath here. Exhaling to release all of that. Right hand down, left arm up, bending into the right knee. Reaching the top arm up. Maybe half finding the left arm, finding the right thigh if you can. I'm stopping up, I'm facing the opposite way, challenging my left and right. Opening your top shoulder to the ceiling. Maybe you're going to bring your right hand to the outside of your left leg or your left ankle. But use that bind to open your chest, opening the top shoulder. And then as you exhale, slowly releasing, folding forward. Coming into a forward fold for a couple of breaths. You can hold on to opposite elbows, swaying gently side to side if that feels good. As always, a slight engagement of the belly button to the lower spine. And then exhaling, fingertips to the mat, coming down onto all fours. Hands under shoulders, knees under hips. Let's just sway side to side for a minute, rounding the upper back up towards the ceiling. And then maybe doing some circles, so hips towards the heels, and then coming up the other way. Just doing a couple in one direction, a couple in the other direction. And then coming back to center and straight into cow pose. Belly towards the mat. Opening through the heart, squeezing the shoulders together, tilting the hips up. Exhale from the hips, rounding the spine up towards the ceiling, pushing through the palms at the end. Chin to chest. Inhaling to reverse, opening up. Exhaling, cat pose. Inhaling back to center. We're going to walk our fingertips forward into puppy pose. So keeping your hips over your knees, inching your fingers forward, just letting your chest come towards the mat. You can use a block, or you can have a block underneath your forehead, but really just finding this feeling of the chest hammocking towards the mat. You can have your arms a little bit wider if that feels better for your shoulders. And then coming into your puppy pose. Inhaling, exhaling, letting something soften. 2 more breaths here. Last breath all together, inhaling. Exhaling to release, to soften, to let something go. And then starting to walk your hands back. Coming back to all fours, tucking the toes, lifting the hips into downward dog. We're just going to spend a second here, bending one knee, then the other, moving the hips from side to side. And then we're going to come forward onto our tippy toes, walking forward for 3 sun salutations. So bending the knees, curling ourselves up, fingers meet overhead, hands down through heart center, hands to the mat, stepping the right foot back, stepping the left foot back, coming into chaturanga, elbows into the ribs. You can have your knees on the mat if you need. Upward facing dog or cobra pose, downward facing dog. Taking a breath in, exhaling to let something go. So either coming onto the balls of your feet, little steps to the top, or one big step, or you can float to the top. Feet between the hands, opening the heart, looking forward, exhale, folding down, sweeping the arms up, maybe a little back bend at the top, exhaling, forward fold. So stepping the left foot back or floating back, rounding the back, hands into the mat, gentle hop back, elbows into the ribs, upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Taking a breath, letting it go. Inhale, walking or floating to the top of the mat. Halfway lift, forward fold, bending the knees, sweeping the arms up. Exhaling, forward fold. Last one, stepping or floating to the back of the mat. If you're floating, palms push into the mat, rounding the upper back, bending the knees, and it's a little hop back. Quietly, feet touch the mat. Chaturanga, upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Taking 2 breaths there. Always, I'll offer some options. They're just an option. You don't have to do them. They don't make the practice any more advanced. It's just an option to play a little bit on the mat. But always it's good to see what you can do. So approaching things with an open mind. And if it doesn't work the first time, it just doesn't matter. Sometimes it doesn't work the first 1,000 times. It also just doesn't matter. So just practicing in a way that's non-judgmental, kind to yourself, but having a healthy curiosity as well. Okay, having said that, let's bring our knees to the mat. Let's bring our forearms down to the mat, and we'll come into a plank, a forearm plank. So elbows underneath the shoulders, wrists in line with the elbows, pulling the belly into the spine, squeezing the glutes, rounding through the upper back. So taking a couple of breaths here. This is a great shape for your shoulders, for your core, for your glutes. Zip up the whole inside chain of the legs, so from the ankles all the way up to the navel. Engage all of that. So your option is to stay here, or you can lift the hips and start to walk the feet into your dolphin pose. So elbows under the shoulders. I like to bring my hands a little bit closer together, but if your hands are in direct line with your elbows, that's great. Whatever feels good is great. You can have a bit of a bend in the knees. If you want to, you can lift the right leg. Take a couple of breaths here. And then swapping right leg down, left leg up. One day from this pose, you might decide to float both legs up. So never say never. You'll be amazed at the things you can do. Exhaling the left leg down, knees to the mat, pushing back into your child's pose. Belly to the spine, hips to the heels, forehead to the mat, lengthening your arms forward, just letting the breath return to normal. Without any judgment or expectation, just watching the breath. Noticing the feeling in the body after a little bit of an energetic start tonight. Let's inhale onto all fours. We'll tuck the toes and find our downward facing dog. If downward facing dog is ever too challenging and you prefer to come into dolphin plank, of course, the invitation's always there. Inhaling the right foot up. Exhaling, stepping through for warrior one. So placing the back heel down, rolling up into your warrior one. Let's have some fun. Exhale, we'll open up into warrior two. Step your back foot back a little bit if you like, finding your warrior two, gazing over your right fingertips, reaching the arms away from each other, bending into the right knee, really engaging the back leg, feeling the weight in the outside blade of the back foot. And then reversing, left hand down, right arm reaches up and over. Taking a breath here. Inhale, coming back to center. We're going to turn over our right leg, coming into our pyramid pose. So come onto the ball of your back foot, fingertips on either side of the foot. Inhale to halfway lift. You can stay here in your pyramid pose if that's enough, or exhale, folding forward. Taking 3 good breaths here. Feeling the sensation all the way up the right leg. Will be a bit different for everyone. But a nice hamstring stretch. Take one more breath here. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale, turning towards the left, towards the long side of the mat. So fingertips down. We're going to start bending through the right knee, then through the left knee, coming into a high skater pose. And either staying with that variation or coming a bit lower into full Skandasana if that feels okay for you. So it's just going a bit lower, bringing your right hip to, or your left hip now towards your left heel. Toes of the right foot come up. So let's do 2 more each side. If you're feeling comfortable here, you can bring your hands to heart center, but of course you can use your hands for support if you like. Just gently floating one side to the other. When we come to the left next time, opening the arms. If you're in skater, the arms open that way. So twisting the body open, reaching the chest. Top arm, right arm maybe reaches back a little bit. One more breath there. Very nice, everyone. Both hands to the center of the mat, bringing the hips up, toes point in, heels out. So let's bring our right fingertips to the mat for support, taking the left hand around the right ankle or shin, holding onto it, and then lifting the right arm up if that feels okay for you. Always keep a little bit of a bend in the knees. Good. Let's just move over to the other side. So just walk your hands across. Right hand takes the left ankle or the left shin, left arm up. So feel that twist of the upper spine, keeping your hips neutral behind you. And then coming back into a forward fold. Inhale to halfway lift, hands to hips. Let's step the other way. Left foot forward into our warrior one. So taking a step to the right with your back foot, finding your warrior one. Outside blade of the foot on the right side, just feeling your weight there, bending into the front knee. Think about twisting the right inner thigh towards the back of the room and just notice what that does to the shape. Taking a breath here. Exhaling, opening into warrior two. So make the adjustments you need with the back foot, and then let's reverse the shape. Reaching that top arm up and over. Bending a little bit more into the front knee. Make sure the front knee isn't dropping inwards. Make sure it's pushing to the outside of your mat. And then inhale, coming back up, starting to work your way towards pyramid. You can step the back foot in if you need to a little bit. You can have the back heel down or up and finding your pyramid shape. So lowering down to it carefully. If your pyramid's in a half lift today, that's absolutely perfect as well. So just finding a shape that feels good. And letting the breath come back to normal, whatever normal is in this shape. We'll take 2 more breaths here. Let's inhale to halfway lift. And again, we're going to walk our left hand over towards the right, coming back to the long side of the mat. We'll do 1 Skandasana each side. And then coming back to center, toes point in, heels point out. The options are either to hold on to the outside of your ankles or shins, elbows out, belly to spine, bringing the spine towards the mat. So that's a great option for your wide-legged forward fold. Or if you want to do a headstand prep, the opportunity will be there to do that. So if you're doing that, same shape with the legs, you might need to heel toe them out a little bit wider. Hands come under the elbows, far away from your head, and then place your head to the mat, lifting the hips. So we're not jumping, we're not placing a huge amount of weight on the head, but what we are doing is making a big triangle. So head down, hands, if you can see, I've got a proper triangle there. And then hips up, right elbow, right knee to right tricep. And just take a couple of breaths here and then swapping legs. So we don't want to feel any stress in our neck at all in this shape. You're right on the flat part of your head. And that's what we'll do for today. We'll just do the prep to start to get our bodies into that shape for anyone that's interested in doing so. So big triangle, hands further back than you think. Triceps make a ledge. Right knee onto tricep, replacing it down. Left knee onto tricep, replacing it down. And then slowly coming back up. Inhaling to halfway lift. Exhaling to fold. Starting to walk your hands back to the original top of the mat. Right foot points forward. Left foot comes to join. Inhale, sweeping your arms up. Letting the palms touch overhead. Exhaling, forward fold. Inhaling, halfway lift. Exhaling, forward fold. Just taking one breath here. Exhaling to let it go. Inhale, chin to chest, belly to spine, slowly rolling yourself up to standing. Hands to heart center. Right foot forward, left foot back, coming into our warrior one. So think about that twisting of the inner thigh towards the back of the room, bending through the front leg, belly to spine, shoulders away from the ears. And then exhaling back, warrior two. Inhaling, reversing. Exhaling, turning over our front foot, stepping the back foot in onto the ball of the back foot. Arms reach behind you, reaching over your front leg for arrowhead pose. So from there, we're going to bring our hands to the inside of our right foot, stepping our left foot back a bit, dropping the heel. So you can either stay here or you can come into this shape with aeroplane arms. If you're feeling like you've got a lot of space with your aeroplane arms, let's bring our right arm underneath our right knee. So your legs still stay the same in your warrior one, but really bring your right knee, shoulder under your right knee. And then come back to aeroplane arms if that feels okay. Or if you feel like you can bind the arms, bind the arms. But what you want is in this shape, your body is parallel to the floor. We're not twisting open here. So take a breath here. See how that feels. And then if you've got the bind, or if you haven't, coming into your side angle, opening your chest to the left side. So again, the invitation is to stay here, or if you want to, you can look forward and gently step your left foot in to meet your right. Come onto the tippy toes of your right foot and keeping the bind if you've got it, or just holding your front of your knee if you don't, coming up to standing. Let your eyes lift you up. You can open your leg out to the side by pushing your arm into your leg if that's available. Otherwise, you're holding the front of your shin. We're gently going to reverse our steps. So gently with control, bringing the right foot down, stepping the left foot back, and then releasing the bind if you have it. Both hands to the mat, stepping back through plank, chaturanga, upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Taking a breath here, exhaling to let it go. We've got one more side to do before we finish the 30 minutes for anyone who wants to do 30 minutes, but we'll do a nice stretch at the end of the 30 minutes if you want to stay a little bit longer. So let's inhale, left leg up. Exhale, stepping through warrior one. Inhale, lifting up. Arms reach up. Belly in, bending into that front knee, very nice. Opening up warrior two. Make sure in warrior two, your left knee is going to the left. Reversing that shape. So this time we'll come to lean over our front leg and just bring our arms straight into aeroplane arms, belly off the thigh. Beautiful. Then decide, you can stay in this shape or you can bring your hands to the mat. You might need to step your right foot back a little bit more and think about putting your shoulder under your knee as if it's a handbag, as if your knee is a handbag strap. You can keep the fingers there or you can bring the arms back out to aeroplane, but make sure your chest is parallel to the floor and you're gazing forward. And then think about taking the bind. That's an option, it's not a must do. So just taking a breath here. You can stay here or you can step your right foot forward to meet your left and come straight onto the tippy toes of the left foot, or you're holding the front of the left shin. And then let your eyes lift you up. Might be a bit wobbly, flexing the left foot, maybe opening the left foot out to the left. All just playing. Exhale, leg back down to the earth with control. Stepping the right foot back, opening the heart to the right side. And then releasing the bind, hands to the floor, stepping back through a chaturanga or not. Opening up through the heart, squeezing the glutes. Exhaling, downward facing dog. Taking a breath, letting it go. Let's bring our knees to the mat. 2 fists between our knees. And on our way down, we'll come into a camel pose. So hands to the hips, squeezing the glutes, opening the hips to the front of the room, squeezing the shoulders, and then lengthening the body up and back as if you're leaning on a big ball. You can keep the neck relaxed, you can gaze forward, you can gaze up, If it feels super comfortable, you can drop the neck, but there's no must do. The only must do is keep those glutes squeezing together. And then slowly coming up and sitting down onto your shins. Turning the palms up, closing down the eyes. Just taking a couple of breaths here. And then when you're ready, bringing yourself into a seat. So we'll come to Supta Baddha Konasana. Soles of the feet together, opening the chest, reaching the heart forward, elbows to the knees. Bringing your forehead towards your feet. Just taking a few breaths here. And then inhale, slowly rolling yourself back up. Opening your legs to a wide-legged position. So we'll walk our right hand down our right leg, pushing against the top of our right foot. And then push your right foot into your hand. And then sweep your arm up and over. Reaching that arm, opening your heart to the front of the room. Taking a couple of breaths here. And then start to sweep your left hand down to the mat and walk over to the other side. Left hand to the top of the left foot. Push the left foot into the left hand. And then sweep your right arm up and over. Two breaths here. When you finished your 2 breaths, inhale, coming up. If you're finishing the class here, coming down to lie on your back, squeezing the knees into the chest, arms out to a T, a twist for 5 breaths each side, and then a few moments of Shavasana. If you're coming on with me for a bit of a longer class, we're just going to keep building on the shapes that we were building on. So we'll bring our left foot in front of us, holding onto the outside blade of the right foot and threading our arm underneath our knee for sundial pose or compass pose. So reach your right arm out to the side, pushing your leg back, pushing your thigh back, and then gazing under your armpit. Just taking some breaths here. We're nice and warm for this shape now. And then coming back, we're going to bring our right shin down over our armpit, squeezing the shoulder between the calf. I'll show you to the side. Squeezing the shoulder between the calf and the thigh, and then lengthening the left leg out in front of you. So your hands are sort of just under your, a little bit in front of your knee. We're going to lift ourselves up onto our hands, keeping the foot flexed, and then replace your hips to the mat. So you might need to re-juggle that shoulder. And again, lifting the hips up, your front heels on the mat for this one. Exhale, coming down. Okay, this time let's try and lift our bottom leg as well. Engage the bottom leg. Beautiful, lovely. Exhale, coming down. Really nice. So let's just come back to this shape, Supta Baddha Konasana, giving the knees a little bit of a shake. And then we'll come back into our compass. And because you did that one so well, we'll keep the leg bent this time. We'll inhale, lift up the hips.
Are we doing the same side or different side?
Same side.
Same side.
Bringing that knee as high up the shoulder as you can. Elbow out to the side. And then lifting your hips up, trying to cross the left foot over the right. Beautiful. And then leaning forward on your chaturanga arms. See if you can lengthen your legs out to the right. So it's a big lean like we do in the other arm balances. Go slowly, look forward, not down. Beautiful. Well done. Very nice. Give that all a bit of a shake. We'll just come back into Supta Baddha Konasana for another go. Lifting, dropping the knees, opening the heart. Just taking a breath here. And then let's come into the other side. So I like to just bring my right foot forward a little bit, just to give a bit more shape. And then threading your left arm under your knee. Arm out to the left, coming into your compass. That may be different one side to the next. So just breathing into the shape without forcing anything. Nice. Think about looking under your right armpit. Opening through the heart. From there, we're going to squeeze our left thigh down, not our left thigh, left calf onto our tricep, straightening the front leg, hands beside the hips, and lean forward, leaving your bottom heel on the ground. Really nice. And exhale, come down. Replace the knee if you need to. Pushing through the floor, lifting the hips up. Oh, you've got the foot going this time as well. Okay, good. Exhale, coming down. So the next time, lifting the leg up as well. And then bringing your right leg on top of your left, maybe opening out to the side. Big lean, it's your chaturanga arms, but not looking down. More difficult on this side. Don't push it if it's not available on this side. It's okay, you're doing so well. But we're just squeezing that calf over the tricep. Lift your hip up as high as you can first, and then sweep the right foot across the floor and cross it over the left. And then you can try and tilt forward. No, no good. Not to worry. Things work that way. Sometimes things are very accessible on one side and not on the other. So very well done today. So let's inhale to sit up tall. Exhale, left hand outside the right leg. Lifting your spine up towards the ceiling. And then twisting over your right shoulder. Taking a couple of breaths here. Inhale back to the front. Exhaling over to the other side. Lengthening the spine first before you twist. And then coming back to center when you're ready. Bringing the legs into wide-legged shape. You want to make sure you're sitting on the front of your sit bones. So if it feels like you're not, you can sit on a block, but it looks very good from here. And then inhale to halfway lift. Exhale, starting to walk your hands forward. Very nice. Think about your belly coming to the mat before your heart or your head. But really feel the tilt coming from the front of your sit bones so that your lower back is extending, lengthening. And let's take a good amount of time here, softening into the breath, letting the breath find its own steady rhythm. Maybe another 6 breaths here. Make sure the jaw's relaxed, the neck's relaxed. Two more breaths. And then inhale, slowly bring yourself up. Using your hands to bring the thighs together. And then let's lean forward over our legs and round your back down, chin to chest. Down onto your back. Bringing your knees towards your chest for a bit of a squeeze. A gentle rock side to side. And then if you feel like you would like to come into halasana, plow pose, bringing your legs over your head, slowly and with control. You can support your hips with your hands. Make sure you're not crunching your chin or your neck. Very nice. Nice shape. Making sure the weight's in your shoulders and that your neck's relaxed. If you wish to, lifting one leg into shoulder stand and then the next. Squeezing the glutes, pulling the belly in towards the lower spine. Reaching the legs up towards the ceiling, maybe pointing the toes. Taking 5 breaths here. Definitely not moving your neck in this shape. Lifting your legs up towards the ceiling. Point the toes if that helps. And when you've finished your 5 breaths, there's no rush. Gently bringing your legs down. You can come into deaf man's pose, knees to the ears, tops of the feet to the mat, or your toes to the mat. One day your knees will come to the mat. You can hold onto the back of your hips, or you can bring your hands together across the top of the calves. From there, we'll place our hands to the mat, extending our arms and gently rolling ourselves down very slowly back to the mat. Just bring one vertebra at a time to the mat. When your hips touch the mat, engaging the belly and gently extending the legs to bring them down to the mat, slowly and with control. When your heels get to the mat, letting your feet splay out to the side, palms facing up for a breath. Exhaling to let something go. Let's inhale, we'll bend our knees back up and place our palms down to the mat, under our hips, under our glutes. And then lengthen the legs down the mat. And then pushing through the elbows, opening the heart towards the ceiling, coming into fish pose. So if your neck's comfortable here, you can let it go back. Otherwise, just keep your gaze forward, really arching through the back. If you're feeling comfortable in the shape and there's more room to move, you can lift your legs up, but you've got to really engage the belly and engage the glutes. They don't go up too high, making sure you keep the opening through the chest. You can open and close the mouth a few times like a fish. Very nice. And then gently letting your feet come towards the mat. Lying yourself back down, releasing the palms, giving your knees a bit of a squeeze to your chest. Opening your arms out to a T, letting the knees come over to the right. Gazing over the left arm. Feeling both shoulders heavy on the mat. Inhaling back to center. Exhaling over to the other side. On the next inhale, coming back to center, taking hold of the outside blades of the feet and coming into a happy baby. Keeping the sacrum heavy on the mat, knees towards the elbows, the armpits, maybe a little rock side to side. Maybe you lengthen the right leg out to the right. Maybe you lengthen the left leg out to the left. And then holding onto the outside blade of the right foot, let the left foot float down the mat. Bringing yourself into half happy baby on the right side. Knee towards the mat. You can place your left hand on your left hip to just guide it back down so that your left hip isn't riding up. And then opening the right leg out towards the right. And holding the outside blade of the back foot, it doesn't need to, of the right foot, doesn't need to go anywhere, just keeping the left leg extended, just opening out to the right. Taking a couple of breaths here. And then let's start to lift that right leg towards the top of our head. We're just lifting it up a little bit. We're holding onto the outside of the ankle or the outside of the right foot. We're going to extend our left arm out and walk our left arm around the back of our head towards our right foot. Maybe you'll find the right toe, maybe not. You can hold onto the back of the right ankle. A bit of a deeper twist, so if it's not available, no judgment, just working within your range. And then gently releasing, coming back to center. Just taking a breath there for a second. Exhaling. Inhaling the left knee to the chest, giving it a squeeze. And then bringing your left foot into half happy baby. So again, right hand on the hip, just to make sure that hip's staying nice and flat on the mat. For a couple of breaths. And when you're ready, opening that left leg out to the left. So if you can hold the outside blade of the left foot, that's great. Otherwise, holding anywhere along the leg that's available. Bringing that leg out to the left, yeah. Both shoulders even on the floor. So from there, we're going to reach our right hand out to the right. You can turn the hand onto the back of the hand and just start to bring your arm up and around your head towards your left foot. You might need to curl the body in towards your left foot a little bit and see if you can find the big toe of the left foot with your right hand. Trying to keep your shoulders, your back on the mat. A big stretch this one, so just doing what feels right in your body. When you're there, taking a couple of deep breaths. And on the next exhale, gently releasing that leg back down to the mat. Straightening yourself up on the mat. Bending the knees one more time, bringing them into your chest. Giving a little rock side to side. And then exhaling, reaching your legs down the mat. Palms facing up, arms beside you. Letting the feet flop out. Letting the fingers curl gently in towards your palms. Taking a big inhale here. Exhaling to release control of the breath. Release the practice. Surrendering into your Shavasana. Deep rest for the body and for the mind. Letting all your muscles soften on the exhale, including the muscles of the face. Feeling the parts of your body connecting with the earth. Maybe noticing the exchange of energy between your body and the earth. As you exhale, feel the body grow heavy on the mat. On the next inhale, slowly starting to deepen the breath. Bringing some movement to the fingers and the toes. And then gently rolling over onto one side, extending your bottom arm as a pillow. Just taking a breath here, scanning the body. Noticing what's changed since you started the practice. Maybe it's something in the body. Maybe it's something in the mind. Just observing with no judgment. On the next inhale, slowly bringing yourself up to a seat. Crossing one leg in front of the other. And coming to a seated position, hands to heart center. Let's take a big inhale here to complete the practice. As we exhale,